कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकि कोकिलम्। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताया पतये नमः। जयत्याश्रितसन्त्रास ध्वान्तविध्वंसनोदयः प्रभावान् सीतया देव्या परमव्योमभास्करः परमव्योमभास्करः।
श्रीमते निगमान्त महादेशिकाय नमः। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि यही दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे। लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए। रघुपति के लिए बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई। सहस बदन तुमरो यश गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद शारद सहित अहिसा। यम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते, कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा, राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा। राम लक्ष्मण जानकी जय बोलो हनुमान की। हनुमान Anjaneya Swami, Sundara Kapi. After receiving the blessings of Prabhu Sri Ram, in order to go on a mission in search of Sita, after having been directed by Sampati and the words of Suparshva, with the motivation given by Jambavan and the Vanara Sainyam, Hanuman crossed 3 impediments, namely Mainakam, Surasa, the Nagamata, and Simhika. After having been blessed by Lankini, the presiding officer of Lanka, he gets into Lanka in the late evening hours. He goes street after street, locality after locality, neighborhood after neighborhood, house after house. Tulsidas ji makes a special mention of Hanuman having spotted the house of Vibhishana, the Dharmatma. Why am I calling him Dharmatma? Shurpanaka calls him so. Vibhishanastu Dharmatma, she says in Aranya Kandam. So there are symbols of Vishnu's Panchayudhams, and there is a Tulsi plant kept outside the house. Here goes the beautiful Doha and Chopai. Bhavan ek पुने देख सुहावा, हरे मंदिर तह भिन्न बनावा। रामायुध अंकित गृह शोभा, बरनि न जाए। नव तुलसी का, a new sapling, नव तुलसी का बृंद तह देखी हर्ष कपिराई. Harish was extremely glad and excited. Why? Isn't this just not restricted to Hanuman? It is also found in us. Imagine you've grown up a large part of your childhood, your adolescence, your youth, you've spent in Bharatadesham. You're born and raised in India. So we take it for granted if he is a typical South Indian, he'll be used to the temple bells, the dhoop coming from the mandir, then jasmine flowers, then their banana leaf. All this is quite typical of a South Indian cultural event. I'm sure my brothers and sisters in the north of India will have your own cultural identity when you do beautiful celebrations such as this. Imagine you've grown up in Bharatadesham. Say, then you're going abroad, the man or the woman, they're going abroad, they're doing their higher studies, they get married and settle there. Say for a period of 2 years, the boy or the girl, they are not exposed to any of this and they will have to live and get accustomed to the living traditions in that part of the country wherever they are. Imagine 2 years later, they're just walking by and they see a hall. There is dhoop, there is temple bells, and you've got loads of banana leaves that have been laid on the table. Immediately, the eyes will go big. They will try to check what is happening here. Isn't that true of we, the humans, as well? So we always associate and get quite excited and impressed when something that we associate ourselves with, our civilization associates itself with, is seen right in front of its eyes. Similarly, Hanuman has seen Tulasi growing in many households in Bharatadesham. He has come to a foreign country now. So, when he sees a Tulasi plant, a sapling, he gets extremely impressed. Says Tulasidas. Tulasidas ji tries to become very relevant and relatable when he takes up Sundara Kandam in his hands. So he says, Nav tulasi ka brind tah dekhe harash kapirai. So Hanuman is extremely impressed. That is when he spots a hangar, the place where the Vimanas are kept. So as he goes closer to it, he sees a Vimanam written outside, inscribed with the words Pushpa. So it was a Pushpaka Vimanam. He sees Pushpaka Vimanam and then there are reins, ropes that were driven by Hamsa birds. And those birds were in their own place towards the end of the hangar where there was a caretaker who was taking care of all the Hamsa birds. Then, this Pushpaka Vimanam is described by Valmiki through Hanuman's eyes as the one which is studded with beautiful, flawless gems. Because gems can have flaws if they are not polished or sharpened well. So, these are flawless gems which have been laid, studded on the walls of Pushpaka Vimanam. Then, as he gets inside the Pushpaka Vimanam, he sees a small artificial lake inside the Pushpaka Vimanam. And above that lake, there is a central pillar seated on which is Mahalakshmi or a lotus. So, as he sees it, here comes the verse. Nirjamanascha gaja suhasta sakesarashchotpala patrahasta babhuva devi chakrita suhasta Lakshmi statha padmini padmahasta. Here is Mahalakshmi seated on a lotus, with lotuses on all her hands, and her palms themselves look like lotus. So her eyes are like the petals of a lotus, her face is like a newly blossomed lotus, her palms are like lotus, she's holding lotus in both the hands, and then she's seated on a lotus. So everything that is associated with lotus is found in her. Padma Priyam, Padma Hastam, Padma Akshim, Padma Sundarim, Padmodbhavam, Padma Mukhim, Padmanabha Priyam Ramam, Padmamala Dharam Devim, Padminim, Padmagandhinim. So these are the names in the Lakshmi Ashtottaram where one name after the other, one nama after the other, our Purvacharyas have associated Padma, lotus, with her. She's called Padmini. She has got the smell, the effervescence of a lotus, Padma Gandhini. So Padma Hasta, she's holding Padmam. So Padmakshi, she's got eyes like a lotus. So here is lotus. Probably Hanuman would have thought, what an irony. This man has Mahalakshmi in her Pushpaka Vimanam. In a way, he brings priests to worship that Mahalakshmi. On the other hand, he has abducted Mahalakshmi in her very own flight. Imagine that there is a person who owns a fleet of flights. There is a person who kidnaps the owner of the flight in the flight in which the person owns it. Something like that is the situation where Mahalakshmi is the one who is being worshipped. And she is being abducted in the very same Vimanam. So, Lakshmi's Tatha Padmini Padmahasta. It had beautiful windows and there are images. There is a vivid description given of Pushpaka Vimana. Of course, to all those questions, it is welcome that you may ask, were flights seen in those days? Is it logical to have open flights? A lot of questions will be there in your minds. I am not that well trained or adept in Vaimanika Shastra, which is one of the scriptures mentioned in those days. So, I am sure there are scholars spread across the country and outside the country as well who will be able to answer questions on Pushpaka Vimanam. That said, where is this Pushpaka Vimanam? This Pushpaka Vimanam was made exclusively by Vishwakarma, the architect of the Devas, to be gifted to Brahma. He gives it to Brahma. Then Brahma sees that it has to be given to a very rightful person. That is when he sees Kubera performing intense austerities. So when Brahma appears in front of Kubera, he bestows the Pushpaka Vimanam that came as a gift to him from Vishwakarma. So he gives this as a boon. Then while Kubera is owning it and managing it, that is when his half-brother Ravana seizes it from Kubera through force. So from Vishwakarma to Brahma, Pushpaka Vimanam went as a gift. From Brahma to Kubera, it went as a boon for this intense austerities that he had performed. From Kubera, it was seized by Ravana through sheer force. So that Pushpaka Vimana is what Hanuman has seen in Lanka. Now, after seeing the Pushpaka Vimanam, searching for Sita there as well, he enters into the large palace of Ravana. There he sees in many suites women sleeping in different postures. So here Valmiki gives a very beautiful description. He says that there was a woman who was sleeping like a stream, like the stream of a river. Imagine that there is a stream of a river. Like that there is a woman sleeping. Now on her chest are large ornaments. So those ornaments from a distance looked like lotuses in the stream. Next to those lotuses, this woman was wearing a girdle with those little bells. So they looked like small lotus buds. And the woman was so engrossed in her slumber that she had opened her mouth and slept. So she looked like an alligator. So the woman is like the stream of a river. Her ornament is like the lotus. The bells around her girdle are the buds. And her open mouth is like an alligator. So here comes Valmiki's description. Kinkini jala sankasha asta hema vipula ambujaha bhavagraha yashastira supta nadyaiva babuhu. So it looked as if a living stream was seen in the woman. Next, he goes to the next room. There again women are sleeping in different postures. So here he says one woman, Rakshasi Stri, was sleeping on the bosom, the chest of the other woman. One lady was sleeping on the arm of the other woman. One lady was sleeping on the thighs. So two women are sleeping. The third woman is resting her head on the thigh of the first woman, putting her legs and thighs on the legs of the other woman. There is a fourth woman who is sleeping over the bosom of the second woman. So imagine this scene. So Valmiki gives a vivid description of that as well. Anya vakshasi cha anyasya stasya kachit punarbhujam aparatvankam anyasya syas tasyaschappya kuchau. So this is how Hanuman has been seeing women sleep like this, one look like a living stream, and so on. But there was a question in his mind. Where will I go in search of Sita? Because he said conclusively, none of the women whom I've seen is Sita. Where is he going to find Sita? Next episode. Dear Astika reader, I'm happy to be authoring a 2-part book on the Ramayana in English. The first part is slated for release in the year 2024. The book aims to recreate and retell the Ramayana of Valmiki, conforming to the ancient commentaries and other allied literature. To receive notifications of the book release, kindly register with www.deshikadaya.org/books. Namaskaram.